Tetris is boring. You just sit there, pressing some buttons, doing basically nothing. Today, I'm changing that by rebuilding Tetris in 3 completely different genres. Let's just get started with the first and easiest genre, which is a clicker game. The idea behind this one is pretty simple. You play Tetris and place blocks and clear lines as usual, except to fuel my dopamine-deprived brain, Tetris is now a money factory built with upgrades designed to make you a Tetris gazillionaire. So the first step is to remake the original Tetris. And luckily for me, this very nice guy pretty much already did that for me, so I'll just have to copy it. With that done, it's time to introduce the capitalism. The way you earn money is to place a block and secondly clearing lines. Therefore, the first and second upgrades will be increasing the amount of money you gain from these actions. But there's a problem. If I just spam blocks, I technically earn faster than if I play properly. I really want both of these methods to be viable options, but the easy spamming method shouldn't be the best. My solution to this was adding a multiplier system. The multiplier gradually increases as you clear lines and reset when you lose the game. To make the multiplier even better, the third and fourth upgrades boost the max multiplier and how fast the multiplier increases. Finally, I threw in some ridiculously overpowered upgrades. And just like that, we got ourselves a very simple but very addictive Tetris clicker game. Now it's time to move on to the medium genre, a horror game. How do you turn Tetris into a horror game? Simple. You sit alone in a dark room playing Tetris on your phone, but something's wrong. The lights flicker, footsteps echo, a door creaks. Something's watching you, a creature. It hates being seen. So while you're playing Tetris, you'll have to keep the creature at bay. Let's kick it off by remaking Tetris again. Setting that up was pretty straightforward. I simply reused the logic from the clicker game. Next step is to create an environment. My plan for the environment is to make it kinda FNAF 4-like, with dim lighting and 3 locations you have to check for the creature. And to make this happen, I imported a room I made in an old project. The player sits at a desk in this room. Around them are 3 danger zones: the window, the door, and the bed. You'll need to check these to see whether the creature has spawned. And in the meantime, play Tetris on your phone. But this is way too boring. What the game needs now is a challenge. A monster. This monster has to be terrifying. And I've got the perfect idea. The fucking O block. So I opened up Blender for a second time ever, thinking that 4 blocks in a square pattern with circles for eyes would be easy to make. And holy shit, I'm an idiot. I spent 2 hours giving this thing its fucking eyelids just to not use them. Why? Because I'm an idiot. Fuck the O-block. Anyways, the O-block now has allergies, bad dental hygiene, muscular legs, and is finally done. This thing was totally worth the trouble. Anyway, next step is to make this thing move around. When the monster spawns, it picks one of the 3 locations at random. At first, it's in state 1, as far away as possible. If you don't spot it in time, it moves to state 2, closer. And if you still miss it, it moves right up to your face, ready to give you a little smooch. And if you continue to ignore it, the jump scare needs a bit of work, but I'll let it be for now. As I was making the game over screen, I realized there is currently no objective. You just keep going until you die. So I added a line counter, which counts down until it reaches 0, and when it does, you win the game. I went back to the jump scare and polished it up a bit with some screen shake and realized that something crucial was missing. Sound effects. The most important part of any horror game. So I spammed a bunch of sound effects and threw them into the game, and now everything feels a lot more polished. And that is basically it for the horror game. So now it's time to move on to the hardest genre. Alright, we are officially out of reasonable ideas. So now it's time to crank the difficulty to 11 and take this project to its final and most deranged form. Turning Tetris into a multiplayer first-person shooter. The main idea is to make a gun game style shooter. But instead of traditional weapons, every single gun is one of the classic Tetris tetrominos. Each piece will also have its own unique firing style, but I'll get to that later. First step is implementing the basic player movement as always. This step went fairly smoothly without any major problems, so we're off to a strong start, which probably means something's about to break. The map for now is a flat plane absolutely stuffed with oversized Tetris pieces. These Tetris pieces combine to form cover, bunkers, sniper towers, and parkour puzzles. I still have to make crouching for many of these hiding spots to be good, but I'll get to that. Now it's time for the most important part of this game, the shooting. And we'll start off by making the eyepiece. As mentioned, the eyepiece will be a ray gun, so I added that functionality and now we have shooting. Except it doesn't really look of much. I promise you the shooting functionality is there, you just can't see it. Which is why we need the juice. All the cool little things that turn a shot into a shot. The juice includes a bullet hole effect which spawn at the point of impact, a line renderer that makes it look like a real ray gun, cool blood effects when hitting another player, awesome sound effects, and screen shake. At this point I realized something. The game is supposed to be the FPS version of Tetris, but Tetris is usually played vertically, and this game is currently pretty non-vertical, so I gave the map some walls. These did turn out to be pretty much completely pointless, because actually scaling these was a pain in the ass, so we definitely need new movement options. First of all, I simply added crouching and sprinting, which actually helped out tremendously as you could now hide under 1-block spaces and do this weird strafing kind of thing. Next, I added something which changed the game completely, a grappling ability. This thing took some time to add, but god damn it's cool. It is now possible to basically fly around the map, which is fucking awesome. Anyway, time to return to the weapon system. The order of weapons best to worst will be the eyepiece, of course, as the ray gun. Second is the T-piece with its machine gun style shooting. The third will be the L-piece, acting as a powerful shotgun. Then the J-piece as an acid heat spraying weapon. Then comes the Z-piece, functioning as a handgun. Then the S-piece, which will be a throwing scythe kind of thing. And finally we have the O-piece, which will be a rock. I did my best to balance the weapons so that they become decreasingly powerful but never unusable. With the weapon system finally working, the core gameplay was basically done. So I took a deep breath, braced for impact, and faced my biggest hurdle yet. Multiplayer. Yeah, so that was a mistake. Only thing new is this guy. On the good side, I did manage to get the base game to work in multiplayer. Players can damage and kill each other and move around freely. The gun game mechanic also works as it should. Bad thing is just, as the player being shot, you have literally no clue except for your health going down. And then being teleported when you respawn. Also, there's no real way to win. The stupid game simply breaks when it has no more weapons to give you. Worst of all, it only works if all players play from my computer. So evidently, I'm only able to play with myself. In conclusion, I wasted 2 weeks of time on making a half-functional multiplayer game that only I can play. Ultimately, all these problems stem from me being an educationless dumbass, but it is what it is. And if this video has taken a bit longer than usual, this is why. But anyway, with this, the challenge is finally over. Honestly, terrible experience, but could for sure recommend. And in case this video does better than my last one, I'll consider fixing the Tetris multiplayer game. If you're awesome, you should definitely like and subscribe, and I'll hopefully see you in the next video.